Yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, John Don't Stop, with episode 172, and I'm here with Brandon L. This time. It's going to be
Going
us
on, guys?
tonight.
What's
We have
going
a
on?
lot to talk about. Officially, the NFL season is officially over. We have a new
I'm
king.
heartbroken.
Yeah, man. Now we have this whole 6 month hiatus of just nothing and just free agency and trades and
Hey, we got March Madness soon. Listen, March Madness,
we're
March
one
Madness,
month and a half away from March Madness, and
right?
that's
March
a
Madness,
whole
man.
other
I mean,
thing.
you want to talk about insane college basketball? Like, can you believe moments that have happened? March Madness is definitely where it's at.
100%, bro. But we were gonna do positive and negative today, but we have a lot to talk about, especially what happened last night with the Super Bowl. Eagles end up destroying or embarrassing the Kansas City Chiefs 44-20 in New Orleans. Brandon L, what are you gonna tell me about it, bro?
Well, first of all, shout out Brandon H, because when we had recorded last Monday, he, I believe, was the only one on our pod who said Eagles, 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 and we're all sitting here laughing at him, going, "Really? You're
I
really
said
gonna?"
Eagles. I
Oh, you
said
did?
Eagles.
Okay.
I just wasn't. I didn't think it was gonna be a blowout. I didn't think it was gonna be that close, but
Okay, so we had, because I know Danny and I definitely were going Chiefs, but no, I mean, we were talking. You and I were talking about it before we were talking about it off camera. I mean, shout out Vic Fangio as well, former Dolphins defensive coordinator. That was probably one of the greatest defensive games called that I've seen in a long, long time. And really, if you're a Chiefs fan and you looked at that game last night, flashbacks of Super Bowl 55, when the Chiefs lose to Tom Brady when he was a member of Tampa Bay, when it was 31-9. What was the common denominator in those two Super Bowls? The O line. The O line could not block Mahomes all night. And get this, right? 42 dropbacks from Patrick Mahomes last night. How about zero? The Eagles defense blitzed 0.0% of those. Zero. They did not blitz the entire game, and Mahomes got sat 6 times. I mean, that right there. Come April's draft, the Chiefs definitely have to go offensive line. Just from watching that game last night, I was stunned. I know millions around the world were stunned, because I truthfully thought that the Chiefs would become the first team in NFL history to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. I thought it was going to be close. I didn't think it would, even if the Chiefs had won. I thought it would be between 7 to 10 points. I did not think at one point it'd be 30. What was it? I have here 34-0 and 40-6. I mean, if you would have told me that the Eagles would be up 34-0 and they delivered the knockout punch pretty much in the first half. After Cooper DeJean's pitch 6, you really honestly kind of felt like the game was over from there. So really, I mean, you got to be a team sport about this. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to Jalen Hurts. I mean, you and I were talking about it off camera. I love his story. A guy who had a transfer colleges, benched because coaches didn't think that he was the guy. And then he plays Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 57, comes up short, even though I believed he was the better quarterback in that game.
I
And
agree.
here we are 2 years later now. He becomes the first quarterback, I believe, from that famous 2020 draft class to lift a Vince Lombardi trophy. So really good shout out to Jalen. And I'm honestly stunned, but I don't think this is the end of the Chiefs. And we'll definitely get more. We'll touch more on that tonight.
Yeah, man. I I was in complete shock because I know everybody. If you're not really rooting for anybody, then you're not really entertained. You just think
Right.
it's like Daniel. He was texting me during the game. He was like, "Yo, this is boring." Obviously he's a Cowboy fan, so
Right.
he wasn't gonna go for the Eagles, and he doesn't really care for the Chiefs either. So I could see why people will say it was boring, but you gotta give it credit to where credit is due, bro. Like the Eagles did what they were supposed to do. They they got to Mahomes, they pressured him, they made him make bad decisions, which costed them
2
14 points.
interceptions, right?
Two
I believe
interceptions
it's
basically
the
cost
number
them
one
14
late
points.
in the first half, right?
and it was 24-0 at the half. And then if you're gonna come back from 24-0, or just like whatever the score was when they were before they scored a touchdown, it you can't do that in the Super Bowl, especially with this Vic Fangio defense. I don't know what the Dolphins are gonna do because I feel bad for them now because he was just there last season,
Right.
moves to the Eagles, and now does this. Brian Flores actually succeeding with the Vikings.
Well, good news for us is that I believe Anthony Weaver should be back on Mike's coaching staff after we heard the news that Kellen Moore is probably going to take the new head coaching role for the New Orleans Saints. I know Weaver had, I believe, 2 interviews with the Saints. So after hearing that news, I think you could pretty much, I don't want to say 100%, but I'm 95% sure that Anthony Weaver will be the Dolphins defense coordinator for a second straight season, which I believe if you're Mike McDaniel, you have to love that, right? Because I mean, I thought Weaver's unit struggled a bit at first in the beginning of the season, but I thought late in the second half, especially Chop Robinson, I thought they really were able to put the pieces, they were able to fit things well. And but yeah, I mean, if you're Mike McDaniel, what do you do last night while you're watching that? I mean, that you were in the same building as Vic Fangio a season ago, and now your former coworker is dominating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs' chance to become the first team to three-peat. I mean, if you're Mike McDaniel, you have to be going like this and just like shaking your head inside of your office because wow.
What makes it even scarier is that the Chiefs, like, they're not a terrible team,
Right.
but the way that how this season went with controversial calls at the end of the regular season, with end of games, holding, pass interference, whatever it is, that basically gave them those wins leading up to the playoffs, and then controversial roughing the passer call with the Texans, the Bills with did he get the first down? Did he didn't? Oh, now when you have like an actually decent officiated game, you get blown out in the Super Bowl twice.
Right.
This is the second time. The first time was with Tom Brady.
Right.
And I think they gotta actually look at themselves, because if, let's say, the Chiefs, out of all teams that are having O-line troubles, they need to get this fixed by next season, because obviously the Bills are coming for revenge, the Ravens are coming,
The
the
Bengals
Bengals are coming,
Chase
the Broncos are coming, everybody's coming for your head top, and I don't know what they're gonna do, and especially that apparently Travis Kelce is like taking like a $17 million cap hit, and they don't know what to do with him, because is he gonna retire, or is he gonna stay? And he's not playing up to his level.
Right, and assuming he does call it quits, I mean, you have to kind of look maybe in the tight end market. I mean, no one replaces Travis Kelce, right? Like he's Travis Kelce, but that's another position that the Chiefs are going to have to go after come either free agency or the draft. So, I mean, it is going to be a very interesting offseason. And then the way, obviously, how the Super Bowl went last night, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Chiefs do. But I know you and I will touch more on it tonight, but I'm not ready to give up on them yet. I'm just not, I'm just not ready. Even you think about it. So they lose to Brady in Super Bowl 55. They've been back to the Super Bowl 3 times, I believe, in the last 4 years, and they won 2. So it's like, I'm not really ready to say, oh, this is it. Mahomes is done. Travis Kelce, hang your cleats up. Like, I'm not really ready to go that route yet. And I really hope a lot of other people aren't, because the Chiefs will definitely, as long as 15's back there, the Chiefs should be fine.
I don't know, bro, because, okay, I forgot what his name is, the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs.
Matt Nagy.
Okay, him or the DC, one of them. Apparently there have been rumors that he might be going somewhere else to coach or become a head coach somewhere,
right,
or a coordinator, and maybe give himself a bigger opportunity to prove himself. They got to deal with that too. Obviously, every team has to deal with every year. Some coach has or coordinator has to leave, and you got to deal with that. So it's a whole new scheme, whole new everything. It's going to be interesting, because now
it is.
The Eagles, now everybody's like, oh, the Eagles with A.J. Brown and, Devontae Smith,
Saquon Barkley, who Giants fans are probably slamming their heads against a wall tonight.
Quentin Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, like, Are they the next dynasty? I don't know. Now the question is, now they're most likely going to lose Kellen Moore, their OC.
Right.
Now they're back to where they were last year without an OC, and you saw how they struggled on offense with play calling, and
Right.
that's why you saw them have a down year.
Right.
Who are they going to get? I don't know. That's my question. Cowboys just got Ken Dorsey from the U. Now their play, I'm going to assume their play calling is going to be better, but they have the new head coach. I'm not sold on him. Neither is Daniel. But you got Washington on the come up, and apparently the Giants are trying to get Matthew Stafford and
Oh,
save that
really?
pick.
I actually didn't hear that today.
They're trying to get Matthew Stafford because they're trying to move in for a new quarterback for the future
Oh,
for the
okay.
Rams.
So would they trade that early first round pick or?
I don't know. Maybe they would trade. Maybe it would have to be maybe some picks and a player. Maybe Cooper Cup.
Right.
He's throwing Cooper Cup in there.
I mean, hey, I'll tell you what. Assuming Matthew Stafford becomes a New York Giant, that would be a huge upgrade right there. No matter who. I mean, think about the Giants quarterbacks for the last 5 years. Matthew Stafford would be like a huge upgrade. Won a Super Bowl, so it's not like.
Can you just imagine you get Matthew Stafford, Malik Neighbors, with Jaden Hyatt, Tyrone Tracy, and then you get an extra pick, and maybe you get another wide receiver or maybe a tight end because they do need one,
Right.
or a running back. Now since Saquon is gone, you don't know what they need, but like,
I
this NFC East is looking stacked. If that
I
would
just really
happen,
want to know, like, Giants upper management and Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, like, what were you thinking last night? Like, and I get it. Saquon didn't go off and rush for 250
on his
yards.
birthday, by the way.
Right. But it's like you watch the entire season, and that was his first year in Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
and he sets records and all this craziness running the football. And it's like, what were you thinking? And I get it. They clearly didn't want to pay him if they didn't have enough cap to pay him. I mean, why do you trade him to a division rival though? Like that's where it kind of blew my head when it first happened last March, because I'm sitting here like, okay, you're trading one of the best running backs, which we all know running backs are underpaid today. We've known that
100%.
for a while. But it's like, why are you trading from the Giants to the Eagles? It's like trading Tua from the Dolphins to the Jets, or you just don't, those division trades. I'm not sold on those. And then you see him wins his first ever Super Bowl. So it's like, not only do the Giants have a top 5 pick this year, now they have to deal with that on top of they have to listen to that all offseason. Well, you ended up trading Saquon Barkley, who went to Philadelphia and won his first Super Bowl.
Year one, that's just the storyline of the year, bro. Like, just how everything transpired in New York, and then him leaving, going to Philly, which was like a shocker to me. And then they end up winning the Super Bowl the very next year. Can you see them becoming a dynasty? Like,
I don't.
I think it's too early. I don't know.
Yeah, right. So I definitely would say it's too early to say a dynasty, because what is your definition of a sports dynasty? Like, for example, the early '90s Bulls, right? The Heat, when they had Wade, Bosch, and LeBron James. The Golden State Warriors.
Do you call that a dynasty though?
What, the Heat?
The Heat with LeBron for 4 years, is 4 years enough to call it a dynasty?
See, that's the thing. Like, do we have labels on how many years a dynasty? Like, I'm not calling the Eagles a dynasty after one Super Bowl. Now, if they get back to this stage next
Technically
season,
two.
right?
I mean, yeah, but that was a different team now. Yeah,
Right. I mean, I think all Eagles fans would probably say this is the best Eagles team they've had in modern history. I mean, just on the offensive side of the ball, the defense, we all know what they did to Mahomes and the Chiefs last night. So it's like, I'm not ready to like jump that wagon right now and say they're a dynasty. But I can tell you right now, if they do repeat next season, and you and I are still on this podcast, we can definitely start using that term dynasty. But I don't like to throw that word dynasty just out and freely, because I don't know. I want to see what they do during the offseason, because obviously with every other NFL team, there's free agents and there's new draftees coming and coaching changes. So like you said, that one year when the Eagles didn't really have an offense because they didn't have a legit proven offensive coordinator. Let's see what they do, assuming that Kellen Moore takes that Saints job. And then if they go with a first year or a inexperienced offensive coordinator, let's see what they do come the 2025 season. But I don't know if I'm ready right now to say that they're a dynasty.
If you're Kellen Moore, you're off a Super Bowl high,
Right.
and you're offered the Saints head coaching job. The Saints right now are in a bit of a right now because I think they're the worst team in the league right now with salary cap. They're like so far away for being in the green that they're gonna be bad for like the next couple of years. Do you, as Kellen Moore, take that job? Obviously, it's a head coaching job. Those aren't guaranteed. I understand that, but if it were me telling him, it's like, hey, you're still young, you just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Stay, see if you can win a couple more, maybe get some more experience under yourself. See what you can. What you let's say next year you play, I don't know, the Lions, and then you play whoever it is in the AFC again, right? And you win another one. Now you get more experience. Now you probably play against a different defense or different or whatever it is, right? Maybe then you're offered even a better opportunity somewhere else with an actual winning organization. Who knows? Maybe if the Dolphins don't have a good year this next coming season, maybe the Dolphins open up for Kellen Moore. You never know.
Right. I don't, I mean, obviously, Kellen Moore wants more money, just like that, and just like you, and everyone else out there in the world. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say, wouldn't say. I mean, me personally, if I'm Kellen Moore right now, I'm probably drinking as much as I can because it's I mean, the way he called these games this year and the way that Eagles offense was so dominant. I mean, like, forget about the head coaching opportunity with the Saints right now. Take about 2 to 3 weeks, talk about it with family and close friends, celebrate this. I mean, this is obviously a milestone for the Eagles. Saquon Barkley's first year in Philly, and the team wins it all. But I just feel like if the money's there, you probably. I mean, if you're a money grabber and a money chaser, he's probably going to take the job just because like the money looks obviously sexy. But I mean, hey, I mean, Nick Sirianni said it last night during the post game. He was like, "Let's run this shit back, Kellen." Like, yeah. I mean, he was sold in on Kellen, and it was funny too. He like laughed seconds after saying it. So it wouldn't shock me if Kellen stays because we always see like coaching, something drastically changes throughout this whole process. But it also wouldn't shock me if we get that tweet from Schefter or Ian Rappaport that Kellen Moore officially accepted the Saints job. So it's really just like a wait and see kind of thing. But I mean, if you want to run it back next year, I say run it back with everybody: the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. And oh, by the way, let's not forget. And I know I don't want to be like a little Debbie Downer here, but let's not forget Eagles fans wanted Nick Sirianni fired when they were 2-2. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know how many people are going to watch this tonight, but I really hope this gets sent to Broadway Street because I don't want Eagles fans. And again, love you guys. You guys are one of the most nuttiest fan bases in the National Football League. I personally know a lot of them. You guys wanted Nick Sirianni fired after when you guys were 2-2 and you got blown out against Tampa Bay on the road. Don't come after me. You know it was there. Go back to all the receipts. So.
Yeah, bro. Like, if I'm Kellen Moore, bro, and I'm given the decision to either stay in Philly or become the head coach of the Saints, who are probably in the worst. It would be the worst position to put a head coach, even worse than Gerard Mayo grabbing my Patriots. It would be so. At least like we weren't in like we had cap space, we had a decent players, we had a defense. Like the Saints, you got Alvin Kamara, okay, whatever. But Michael Thomas is not the receiver. Chris Olave is like he's still there, but he's being underutilized. There's no quarterback situation. There's no how do you say? There's no identity for that Saints team. So,
and that's what I was going to touch on too, and glad you mentioned it. The Eagles and the Saints are in two different stratospheres. It's like you really want to go to a Saints team that, I mean, let's be honest. Are they ready to compete for a Super Bowl? We don't even know what Derek Carr's future looks like. So are we really going to are we calling the Saints Super Bowl contenders next season? Probably not. So I would like to see Kellen Moore stay and see what he can do. But again, if he's a money chaser, and I'm sure he's gonna want big money because let's be honest, he's earned it. So we'll see. I mean, it's just a whole wait and see process as the offseason rolls along.
The one thing I could see something with the Saints is with Kellen Moore. Obviously, is he is an offensive guy. I'm not gonna say guru because now apparently every
Right.
year
Every offensive coordinator has one good year, and they're like this offensive guru.
yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but if he were to let's say find a quarterback, right? You have Olave, you got Kamara, and then you have Shaheed, who's actually not bad, and then you can make some good draft decisions, and then you can find yourself a good DC. I mean, the Saints had actually like a shocking start to the year where
Yeah, right.
they're like, bro, like are the Saints legit? Like
I think
everybody,
they were 2-0, and they blew out Dallas.
they
Like it
blew out
was.
Dallas and they blew out
I forget that. Yeah, I am
I
forgetting that.
forgot.
Hold
It
on.
was too long ago.
Now that we're on that topic, I'm definitely gonna look this up. And by the way, I said Broadway Street. It was Broad Street. I said Broadway Street. I think Broadway is in New York, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Broadway is the
Yeah,
theater.
so they're definitely going to be partying come this upcoming Friday over in Broad Street because let me tell you, Eagles fans certainly know how to party. They blew out Carolina 47-10. The Saints 47-10 and 44-19.
Damn.
So they scored 57, 67, 77. They scored 91 points in their first two games. Then they went on to lose 7 consecutive games after that 2-0 start.
That's just wild to me. Like if anybody watching, you guys have questions, let us know because this is ridiculous. The Super Bowl was well to me it was incredible. To some people it was boring. But
yeah, no, I mean you and I were speaking about this off camera, but I was so honest with you. This is the first time I ever turned it off early. I mean, I'm so glued into the Super Bowl from the pregame show to the national anthem to the opening kickoff to the halftime show. I was so disappointed in this Super Bowl for the Chiefs. I thought they were going to come out hungrier. I mean, it's and again, like we're definitely going to touch on this more tonight, but I'm not ready to just blow them off. I'm not doing it because I'm going to sit here next year and go, damn it, why did I blow off Patrick Mahomes?
no, obviously I'm not going to continue with like the what how do you say the conspiracy theorists, but like we could blame this Super Bowl technically on Roger Goodell and somewhat helping the Chiefs make the Super Bowl just to have him in the Super Bowl because he loves Mahomes and Kelsey and Taylor Swift making them so much money. But if it didn't come up to that and he actually like kept it fair, we could have basically seen the Buffalo Bills and an Eagles Super Bowl, which I think would have like generated so much more.
Right.
No, obviously we need to see the numbers come out in the next week about the Super Bowl and how everything went up.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I believe the ratings are already out. I think it was like boom, like
It was that quick.
let me see. I did it earlier. I believe it was Ari Myrove who does a wonderful job. It's at My Sports Update, over 780,000 followers. Yeah, right here. Numbers are in. The Super Bowl featuring the Chiefs and Eagles drew a projected average audience of 126 million viewers, making it the most watched Super Bowl ever. Now, I'm sure the comment section is going to have fun with it. Yeah, see, like it's I'm not going to read that one on camera, but
for anybody watching this before, like live or afterwards on whatever you're watching it on, leave a comment just saying what do you think? Do you think that should be a thing? Like,
I mean, I guess it could have been like okay, so the most watched Super Bowl. I mean, you had history was on the line. You had all the Taylor Swift gurus that are obsessed with her, which I thought it was funny. They showed her on the Jumbotron at the Caesars Superdome, and she kind of gave like a weird, snarky look, and everyone started booing her. I thought that was funny. I'm like, this is the first time that I can honestly admit that people were booing Taylor Swift because they looked at Taylor Swift like they're God, like she's God. So it's like I thought that was astoundingly funny when they put her on the I don't know if that had something to do because of her boyfriend or they didn't want the Chiefs to obviously win, but I thought that was
I think I
comical.
think it was fun to see her get booed live because it's like we've seen her even if it's like a random Panthers versus Giants game,
Right,
somehow some way they have to force her into our faces.
right.
And I think the whole
For
league,
this.
the whole league is fed up with having to see her face, and they show her again and again and again. Like, can you quit it? So I feel like they were just fed up already. It's a Super Bowl. Like, yeah, we get it. She's there. She's dating Travis Kelsey. All right, let's move on with our lives. But they still kept doing it.
Yeah, they really need to like slow down with how much they show her on TV. I mean, we get it. It's two multi-million-dollar people. Like, okay, I get it, and it's money that you, and I are probably never going to see while we exist here. But it's not. I don't like to. I don't want to see her 35,000 times. And quite frankly, I don't want to see Travis Kelsey 35,000 times either. He didn't really do much last night. I believe he had zero catches in the first half for the first time ever, and I'm gonna double check to make sure I'm accurate on that. And I believe Mahomes threw him 2 passes within the first couple of tries, and he dropped both. Now I will
Yeah,
say Mahomes that second one I believe was a little bit low, but
yeah,
this was supposed to be like I even talked about it on the pod. I mean, playoff Trav is like it's a thing. I mean, Chiefs fans know what I mean by that, and just the whole game overall, I was very disappointed. I thought the halftime show was excellent. I love how I love how Kendrick Lamar threw some like little like disses and Drake there, like the
yeah.
minor, like that. Like I thought there was definitely a lot of little. Did you see
The
his
the
lower
A
things?
minor chain. The bro, I feel like he was just trying to make it more about Drake than it was the actual the how do you say the
I mean,
show, the
Serena
performance.
Williams was there. I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
like I don't
Serena
like.
Williams?
Oh, okay, like, but like I didn't like the halftime
No,
show. It was. I mean, I love Kendrick. You know, his songs are good. I love his new album and everything. But like half the time, it was it wasn't really him like rapping. It was more like the audio, and then the other half it was him rapping, but you
right,
can hardly understand what a word he said.
right.
And I think the NFL needs to fix that. They need more like actual performances and more like artists than like how do you say like like a Michael Jackson,
Right.
Mars, or like actual
And
singers.
it's actually funny you say that. I actually on YouTube yesterday before the game, I watched Michael Jackson Super Bowl halftime. What a show. Like I wish I was like born during that time because Michael Jackson, man, I mean, God rest his soul. He was wow.
They were on TikTok. They had it was just like a quick like minute of just showing how all these different performances
Right.
they were so grand. Like they were like the huge thing. Great performances, great singers, the amazing artists.
Right.
Like everything was great. Now I feel like they just do too much, and it takes away from like the actual like how do you say like if I want to listen to I don't know the Celine Dion, like she can give you a crazy good performance,
Right.
and her voice is so amazing,
Right.
and that would capture more hearts than listening to Kendrick rap and mumble for like a
Yeah,
whole.
like it's not a disrespect to anyone that
Yeah,
what I'm about to say, but a lot of the older generations don't really listen to Kendrick Lamar, so they're watching that last night thinking I don't know what he's saying because he's rapping and he's just boom 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 boom, and it's so fast. You just don't like our generation gets it, but the older generation, like our grandparents, our parents, they don't. They're watching that with like a total confused look. They're like, who is that? My mom didn't. I mean, my mom knows who Kendrick Lamar is, but she doesn't obviously listen to him on a day to day basis. So she wasn't really interested in like watching the halftime show. Like it wasn't that if it was like Celine Dion or if all the Eagles were there, like it was. I mean, if it was like one of her favorite bands, and yeah, of course. But then you and I would be like, who's that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's cool to see like different generations are like confused, and we're over here like just like going with it, because like we know what he's saying. I mean, if we listen to his music 7 days a week,
I was telling Daniel yesterday, like we were talking about the halftime show where we had the kind of somewhat disagreement, but like I just feel like for the halftime show, they should start making it as if it's for the TV audience
Right.
than the actual like people that are there that paid thousands of dollars
Right.
for their ticket to be there in person, right? If I'm there in person, I want to see the best performance possible.
Yeah.
Like I want to see fireworks going everywhere. I want to see people like dancing, like an actual grand performance.
Right.
I'm not trying to see Kendrick in a box, in a red box, just trying to dance, be and have like follow the camera the whole time. Like it's not it's not really entertaining for the person that's just there. Like or you're just watching the guy just all right in front of a camera on the live. Like it's
And
like him
they
doing a
said, I
music
mean,
video.
and they know who's going to do the halftime show like months in advance. It's announced, I believe, like around summertime. Like you pretty much know around summertime, early fall, who the halftime like
Mhm.
performer is. So so it's like there's a lot of time for them to plan this out. But it's cool to see people's thoughts on it because like there's a lot of people that loved it obviously last night. There's a lot of people who hated it. There's obviously some few people who chose not even to watch it. You know, and then there's
Yeah.
some people who use that halftime break to either shower or make make another drink or make another side dish. Like
Well, besides the halftime show, we're heading into another controversial
I'm
topic.
ready for anything controversial, Jonjo.
How does this loss affect Mahomes' legacy, bro?
And
Like,
it's right, and it's funny when Danny texted me the rundown this morning, and I'm going over all my notes before, and I'm like, wait a minute, and I'm a stat guru, so this is where I was like, all right, I'm going to be fiery with this one. Mahomes and Brady after 5 Super Bowls had the same exact record, 3 wins and 2 losses. This whole greatest of all time comparison. First of all, I wasn't even ready to even throw Mahomes on that same tree branch as Brady. I think Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. He is going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think Mahomes is there even yet. I think he will eventually be in that Brady conversation, but I wasn't ever one of those that wanted to put Mahomes on that same branch as Brady. But people need to understand that Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes have the same Super Bowl record after 5 Super Bowl appearances. So I don't. I think it hurts his legacy in a little bit in terms of you had a chance to three-peat and you totally effed it up completely. I'm not going to obviously say the full word, but
so
I mean, I don't think this is like Mahomes is like not a first ballot Hall of like. Of course he is. Of course he's a first ballot Hall of Fame. He's going to be a unanimous choice when it's his time to go to Canton, Ohio. And I mean, but it's just funny. Like people think that this one Super Bowl loss tarnishes his. I think it just ruins the whole. Oh, Mahomes is not the first quarterback to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's the only like question that it hurt. But in terms of his legacy and I mean who Patrick Mahomes is, I don't think it really has much of an effect. I'm very curious to hear what you think because I think you're ready to just like explode.
no. I think the way it affects his legacy is, I think as of for right now, the whole debate needs to be put on pause or just like push it for the next 5 years, 5 6 years, see what happens. But as of right now, Tom Brady is still the go, and I don't think he'll ever pass him. But
Remember, he came back in the Super Bowl down 28-3. So
I
Mahomes
was
was
there,
down
bro.
24-0 yesterday. He could have been on that branch with Brady if he would have completed the 24-point comeback.
Now, the one thing I think this it's not the way it's not losing that
Right.
hurts him, right? Because obviously Tom Brady lost,
Right.
so that doesn't really matter. It's how you lost, and Tom Brady in his 10 years was never blown out, never blown out. He
Right.
never played this bad. It was trash, bro. And even when Tom Brady was down like 28-3 to Atlanta, I don't know how many times I've seen that documentary, bro. This guy was still locked in
Yeah.
with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. He's like, "Hey, trust me, let's go. We're gonna do this." Boy goes down and actually wins the whole thing, goes to overtime.
Which still blows my mind to this day how he did that.
I I was when I was in Buffalo Wild Wings when that happened, bro. I was so defeated when it was
Where
28 to
was I? Oh
3.
my god, this is gonna be funny. You ready to hear where I was? You're gonna laugh. I was at my ex girlfriend's parents' house
Oh
watching
my
it.
god.
Yeah, that's how long.
Damn.
I was a senior in high school, and she invited me over to watch it. And I remember I watched the halftime show at my mom's house, and then I went over to her house, her parents' house, met her parents for the first time, and I'm over here like glued to the TV, and I'm kind of like glancing away because I'm like, it's 28 to 3. What's gonna? I mean, it's. But then in my head, as a high school senior, I'm not thinking, oh, that's Tom. I mean, you never doubt Tom. Like that's Tom. Just like you go in the Super Bowl now, you're like, that's Patrick. Like you don't, or like a regular season game, that's Patrick. But yeah, and I remember that, and I'm over here like cheering, going nuts, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm meeting this girl's parents for the first time, acting like a total fool. But I'm like, because you're literally watching history. You're watching a 25-point comeback, goes into overtime. They win I believe New England won the coin toss, right? And then Brady marched down the field.
Oh, for the overtime? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The,
Was that? And those were the old rules, right? Like you can't get the ball back once you scored a
yeah,
touchdown.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those,
That's
those
how
were
it
the
was.
old playoff rules.
I remember it vividly. I think it was, if I correct, it was Sony Michelle. He calls heads or tails. They win the coin toss, and he's like, "We want the ball. Give me the
Yeah.
damn ball."
And
They're
it's
like,
funny. Oh my god, I ran into Sony Michelle at the 31st annual Conine All Star Golf Class. I ran into Sony not literally 2 weeks ago.
"Oh
I
man,
love Sony, dude. It's funny too. We talked about that Super Bowl last season, and I mean, of course he knows, just he was on the team. But I like looked at him and I'm like, damn, Sony really played with Tom Brady. Like it's
it's
cool when
surreal,
you think about it. And the man's like feet away from me.
bro." It's just I don't understand. I understand why people will say that. Oh yeah, he can become the goat. Like yeah, sure, I can see why you say that, but just thinking it logically, Tom Brady has never been blown out, and this has happened twice to
Right.
Mahomes. The first time was against Tom Brady,
All right.
against Tom Brady.
Which you would have been a total clown if you were to sit here in 2021 and tell me Mahomes is going to be Brady. In Brady's first year in Tampa with the Super Bowl at Raymond James, like I would have looked at you and been like, no, like you are
Like,
a total moron. No.
you're crazy. And then they lost. Obviously, the year before that, or 2 years before that, they lost to Brady again, or before
In
the
the
first
AFC
time in
Championship
the
game,
AFC
right?
Championship game.
That was when Brady was still with the Pats. Yep.
And funny enough, that same year it was Mahomes had beaten Brady in the regular season,
Right.
and it was like, damn, bro, like the Chiefs look like legit that year.
Right.
They go on to beat them in overtime, and they head to the Super Bowl and they win, bro. I don't see how anybody can possibly say that Mahomes is the goal or going to surpass Brady because he lost to Brady twice when it meant the most, either to head to a Super Bowl or in the Super Bowl. You get blown out twice. Tom Brady's like deficit margin in the Super Bowl is way less than Mahomes is. I think Tom Brady has like less interceptions in 10 Super Bowls than Mahomes does in those five. I'm like, what more are we talking about? Like,
Yeah, no, even going into the game last night, I wasn't ever. I'm telling you, I wasn't ever like, oh yeah, Mahomes and Brady, they're on that same branch. But I will say, if Mahomes pulled it out last night, I would have started to say, okay, well, Mahomes first quarterback in NFL history to win 3 in a row. We can kind of start putting his name with Tom Brady. It's like Tom's here now, and Mahomes is still down here. Like, I'm not disrespecting Patrick Mahomes in any way. I think he's still one of the greatest of all time. Dude, 3 Super Bowls before even turning 30. Like that's it's I mean that is something that we're probably never going to see again. And I'm glad that you and I are talking about this. I'm not ready. I know I said it already, but I'm not ready to write Mahomes off again. And I won't be it won't be shocking to me if they're back in the Super Bowl next season, which I believe is our final topic.
yeah, we're gonna get into that a little bit in a little bit, but I don't know, bro.
I,
I
I,
think I think this next season is gonna be interesting because there's gonna be a lot of teams out for blood.
Well, hey, the Super Bowl 60 logo's out right now, so we can kind of.
It's a rainbow, bro. I wish we could show a photo, but I
The
don't know
Dolphins might even be
for
in it now. I
copyright
mean, hey,
purposes. I don't know.
is there a little shade of aqua orange or white? Because then we can say, okay, well, the
There
Dolphins.
isn't, but there is like a teal and like a Vice City pink.
Okay, so the Dolphins are
I don't
going.
know why the team is pink. So that's the only thing I could possibly think of. Like, oh, okay, Miami Vice colors, maybe, but that's just kind of a stretch. There's purple, there's yellow, there's green, there's blue.
Oh, there's purple, yellow. Okay, so we got what? Ravens, Lions,
Ravens, Lions,
Vikings, even
Packers,
Packers.
Eagles.
That's
There's
funny.
red.
We are such like freaks about this whole
The
color.
Roger Goodell, you're not slick. We know what you're trying to do, bro. You're trying to.
I have Roger Goodell on speed dial. I'm gonna call him up.
Yeah, you better call him. I'll call him to right now.
Oh, it's funny.
But heading into the final topic, I'm trying to remember here. Oh, that's right. Your early Super Bowl prediction.
And
heading
it's
into the season.
right. And even when Danny sent me that today, I'm like,
wait.
man,
Let me rephrase the topic. Way
right.
too early
Right.
prediction.
But it's crazy because like Hard Rock Bet and other sports books already have odds up for next season's Super Bowl.
And who's
I
the
think
favorite?
that's funny. I believe the favorite is Philadelphia plus 600. And I think the Chiefs are right behind them at like plus 610 or plus 600. Of course. Like they're not even these
the Chiefs be favorites after what we just saw last night. Come on, bro.
You got to remember too.
Who's glazing this hard?
Wait,
bro?
you have to remember this too. No one touched on this tonight. Rashee Rice was playing like a number one wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. He should be back and fully healthy next season. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with D-Hop. I don't know what's going to happen with Hollywood Brown, but it looks to me like the Chiefs somewhat have their wide receiver room figured out. If Rashee Rice comes back next year and plays like he did when the Chiefs won Super Bowl 58. But my way non-relevant Super Bowl. I mean, do you want me to give you the two teams, or you want me to give you who's gonna like win it all?
Whatever you want. Give us everything.
Well, definitely Kansas City, because I'm not writing them off. Kansas City's going to represent the AFC unless Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen show me that they can beat them in a playoff game. Now, I know Joe Burrow's done it before. I know Joe Burrow's done it before, and we have a long offseason to go, so we don't know what the Bengals are going to do with T. Higgins. We all know Jamar Chase wants his money and rightfully deserves it. 100%. But that NFC is going to be very, very competitive next season. With Green Bay, if they're healthy and can grab more wideouts, Philly will obviously be in that conversation. Detroit Lions, even though they have a whole splurge of coaching changes at OC and DC. I don't know, man. I don't want to say there's going to be another Super Bowl of the Chiefs and Eagles because sports is just so unpredictable and anything can happen. I'm going to honestly go Chiefs for sure. Again, I'm not writing off Mahomes. And, man, you're really putting me to the test here. I'll go a sneaky one. I'll go Washington. I think if Jaden Daniels stays healthy, had a phenomenal historic rookie campaign. I think if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy next season, watch out for the Washington Commanders. I don't know how much cap they have to spend this free agency, and I'll look into that. But Adam Peters and company, man. I mean, they're coming. They were 1 win away this past season that just passed. I don't know. They got Scary Terry. They got some weapons. I love their defensive line. They were never going to beat the Eagles in that NFC Championship. I mean, let's be honest. They were never going to beat them. I mean, the Chiefs and the Commanders would be a hell of a Super Bowl, assuming they're still called the Commanders next season, which I believe they are, and they don't have another name change. The Chiefs and the Commanders would be a hell of a Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes. It's like baby against like dad. Like it's like that baby father type Super Bowl when it was like Brady and Mahomes. Washington Commanders are going to be a sneaky pick for me. I would love to hear yours.
Oof, bro.
And notice too, I didn't even say the Dolphins. Everyone
Nah,
who knows,
that's fun. That's a funny one. That's a good joke.
everyone that knows me knows that I don't hate Mike McDaniel. I don't hate Chris Greer, but I think this is a very important year for them. And Mike McDaniel entering his 4th season, yes, this is you have to do something season. And if you don't do anything come mid-season, you deserve to be fired. Yes. I've said this since 2023. I got so many unfollows on Twitter. And honestly, I used to like bicker about it. And I used to hold a big grudge about it. But now I can have 0 followers now, but it really doesn't matter anymore because Dolphins fans are just so sensitive. They really
Yeah,
are.
I have my brother in the living room. He's watching the Laker game with Luca's debut, but he's a Dolphin fan and he's unbearable to talk to after a Dolphins loss. So I understand your review, bro.
It's so bad. Which actually, now that you mentioned that Luka's playing, I forgot. Let me check. Oh, it just started.
It's about to start.
Luka's let's see what he's doing. He has 1 assist, 0 points, and 0 rebounds in only 1 minute. Well, it just started. So
I've got my AFC teams to look forward to are the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans.
Okay.
Once they get, I don't know what's gonna happen with Stephon Diggs. Maybe he goes to Dallas or he stays.
Right.
And I feel like they missed out. They have a lot of injuries on their wide receivers.
Right.
But once they get back, they could be a
Tank
real
Dell.
threat.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Dalton Schultz. They got Joe Mixon still. Like they could get somebody else in free agency or in the draft. Bengals, I got to see what happens with Chase and his money. T. Higgins, they need to fix that defense.
Yeah.
Maybe they could do something.
Which I believe they hired the defensive coordinator from the
former head coach for Miami Hurricanes, Al Golden.
Oh, okay. I was Al Golden. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but we gotta see the.
Because the Colts hired Lou Anarumo or Lou Anarumo. Yeah.
Now a sleeper for the AFC.
I can't wait to hear this.
It's a shocker one. Chargers.
Okay. I mean, it's not. I mean, can Justin Herbert take that next step?
That's my only question. I love Herbert. I really do. I wanted the Dolphins to draft Herbert because I think he was the better quarterback over Tua, but he hasn't really had that structure at a head coach or any organizational structure whatsoever since he's been drafted. He's had some good players,
right?
But the offensive calling it has been atrocious. But now he has Harbaugh, and they actually took a step forward this year with McConkey, Quinn Johnson.
McConkey, dude, that man is a baller. And again, another guy who comes from Georgia who produces. Like, shout out Kirby Smart. It's like every season, whether it's on offense or defense, man.
I personally think they're gonna draft running back to go with what's his name, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, but they also need a tight end. They need to fix that O-line a little bit better. They need to get that defense a little bit more secure. I got to see what happens. It's this year is going to be interesting.
It is, and it's not a bad sleeper pick because Justin Herbert with Harbaugh this past season, I thought he was one of his best seasons of his entire career.
Like with Ladd McConkey, if they let's say they can get a number one receiver, and let's say somehow, some way, one of them does fall to them in the first round or second round, you better hope to God that Justin Herbert doesn't find a wide receiver one that he can trust and is reliable, because then the entire AFC is going to be on this. And he does have an arm, and he is a smart quarterback, and he has Harbaugh who can coach him. Now I'm heading to the NFC. Obviously, the Eagles.
Right.
Obviously, they're favorites. I got the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions just killed a lot of people this past season because of defensive injuries.
14 of them, bro. 14. And Hayden Hutchinson is coming back.
That's right.
And they got the draft. They got free agency. See what they can do. Who knows? Maybe they can try to get Myles Garrett. They do have enough.
That's
pieces.
right, because Myles Garrett did request a trade. We didn't even talk about that tonight. Yeah.
Funny enough, I remember I didn't mention the Chiefs in the AFC list. I don't think they're going to go back to the Super Bowl.
And remember, too, Cooper Kupp is requested a trade from the – oh, no, the Rams front office told him that we're going to basically look for options. And Deebo Samuel now was the most recent one.
and my Patriots have the most cap
I'm
space.
about to say, I feel like New England low key is gonna like snap to this offseason. I don't.
I'll
Mike
tell you.
Vrabel, man. Damn,
Woo!
Daniel's really gonna be like the worst head coach come in the AFC come this season.
Bro,
If Aaron Glenn changes the
Aaron
whole
Rodgers apparently
culture.
isn't going to return to the Jets.
I know I saw that Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
Could we possibly see a quarterback like Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford in
possibly.
the Jets?
Even is there any possible way that Sam Darnold reunites and goes to the Jets
Bro, that would be nuts.
with Aaron Glenn, who we obviously know what he did with the Lions, but now he's taking over a more responsibility. I, I
I,
can't wait for this offseason.
I got the Commanders. Obviously, I think they got Jaden Daniels is my guy. Like besides Drake May, he was the one I wanted in the draft. But you
Everybody
get
was sold on Caleb Williams, man, who's now got
trash,
Ben Johnson.
trash. That
Hey,
team
Bears
can't do
fans,
anything
man.
with Ben.
As soon as you say the words Ben Johnson, any Bears fans like what?
Thing
Like
is, I wanted Ben Johnson too as my OC, but he wanted a head coaching job, obviously after what he did with the Lions. But you can't get them all. But I mean, the Chicago Bears are terrible organization. They're not going to give Ben Johnson what he wants. So
I'm excited. That's one of the very few teams I'm excited to see what they do. Like teams that hired a new head coach. Ben Johnson, man, that offensive freak, dude. Some of those play calls this past season with like the fake fumble, and they had like Goff
yeah,
or Gibbs like fall down on the ground, and they had like Laporta run kind of like, oh my goodness,
I got the Packers as my fourth.
that's not. It's not a bad pick if
I think they need receivers.
yes, that
They
they do.
need Christian Watson is out. Like
He might be out most of next season too because of his ACL happened so late.
I think they need a backup running back for Josh Jacobs.
Was it an ACL, by the way, with Christian Watson? I think it was, right? It
I think
wasn't
so.
Achilles or
Yeah,
ACL.
he might be at work. He's one of those two.
Let me see.
And then I don't know. They think they need to improve a
ACL.
little. They need some more pass rushers. They don't have enough. I don't think they have like that presence in the backfield where they can get to the quarterback to just like New England. We were the worst team on quarterback pressure. So
Right.
that's one of their
I mean,
issues.
Jordan Love, I'm excited to see him take that next step too, because again, Jordan Love is in that Jalen Hurts draft class. So that I'm always going to look at that draft class and like fathom over it because you had Tua, Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Justin. I mean, it was so many guys. Jordan Love, like big money came out of that draft. I think Burrow was in that class
Mhm.
too. Like talking
Bro,
about billions of
crazy.
dollars between those quarterbacks like combined.
And then my last team in the NFC would be Tampa Bay. I-
Not bad. I mean, hey, Baker Mayfield. I love his story too.
I
Guy,
think Chris
you know what I
Godwin's
mean?
gone. I think Chris Godwin is officially gone. I don't think he's gonna stay. I think they're gonna go draft another slot, maybe another receiver. I think what's his name, McMillan. I think he's the next up with Mike Evans. You send Chris Godwin out, maybe trade him to a team that needs
Yeah, I
him
mean,
for
because Godwin's been there since Brady was there, and
maybe
even
for like for maybe trade him for like a fourth or fifth rounder. You get a pick, maybe you get an offensive lineman or something you need, whatever. I don't know what you need, but if you can give Baker Mayfield another weapon on offense, maybe a little. I mean, I don't mind Bucky Irving, but he's not that running back that I would like to see on Tampa Bay. I think they need a more like a Ramondre Stevenson, more
okay.
like a bulldozing kind of. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now, as my Super Bowl prediction, I put in a lot of thought to this, bro.
That's why I'm like, because there can only be two teams, but it's like the offseason just started.
Things can happen. Obviously, this is a way, 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 way too early prediction, so this isn't set in stone for everybody watching. Don't come at me, even though you know my at. It's down here. Case don't stop. My God, I'm in between the Bills and the Ravens in the AFC because does Lamar take that? Actually not? I'm not gonna say Lamar take that next step, but do the Ravens get him enough weapons on the outside to get him to take that next step because I think
They
Zay
have Zay
Flowers.
Flowers. They have Rashad Bateman. I mean,
It's
they
not
they have
enough.
Mark
Rashad Bateman
Andrews.
is
No,
no. Rashad Bateman is not it. It's. I mean, it's nice. Maybe he's like like a.
he got a big contract, I think.
I need maybe
The Ravens defense, I mean, I just want to say the Ravens defense is always going to keep them in ball games. I mean,
this year the defense has been actually kind of like iffy, so I would improve their defense, but get Lamar a weapon, an actual weapon, not no
Lamar's
BS.
his own weapon, man. He runs the ball damn near 25 times a
But
game.
if you can give him a legit weapon though, like running it would be a double
Cooper
weapon.
Kupp, I mean, Debo
Nah,
Samuel, these are guys that are on the market.
Debo Samuel would be interesting. Debo Samuel would be interesting. You get him, and then maybe you draft somebody in the draft that's like Restrepo or Jacoby or somebody. I don't know. Oh, trade Mark Andrews. You need to get trade Mark Andrews. Get him out of there.
Why? Because he dropped a simple two, a
No,
two
he not because he dropped a simple 2 point, but he also fumbled that ball,
right.
which cost him. And he's already getting old, and Isaiah Likely already looks like the best tight end on that team.
Isaiah Likely is a ball. I remember he had one of those catches. I think it was against the Texans last year in the AFC divisional round.
Mhm.
He like mossed a guy like
Yeah, bro.
over his shoulder, like completely just mossed him. Back of the end zone, like just
I
made
just think
a little boy.
I think it's going to be the Bills and the Ravens in the AFC Championship game.
Wow. A AFC title game without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Do you know that Patrick Mahomes has never missed an AFC championship game since
I know.
for Alex Smith?
I think this they're going to take this next year and they're going to try to like see what they can do, and like actually take a reset year, build up whatever O line they can get in the draft and in the free agency. See how this year goes. Then the year after, okay, improve. But if I'm gonna choose a team who I said I don't mind both, bro. I don't mind both. I would love to see Lamar go because he's South Florida kid,
Right, and he's never been to a Super Bowl,
and
right?
he's never been.
But
And
it's
also, I
like with
would,
those two quarterbacks, like we're gonna say this question 100 times or ask this question 100 times. Can they take that next step and knock off Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game when it matters most? Not in
you
a
know
week
what?
5 regular season game.
I'm gonna say just because the Ravens have a Super Bowl, I'm gonna say the Bills because they don't have one, and then I'm gonna go Lions in the NFC.
So you think even with a new OC and a new DC, I mean Dan Campbell's still there.
It's
Love
hard to
his
fail
leadership.
when you have Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery with
That's a
Jameson
nice
Williams,
one-two punch.
Amon St. Brown, Laporta, Reynolds, and Jared Goff or Goof, depending on which day you get him on your team. It's gonna be hard to beat that, and then especially when all those 14 players that are on the injured list come back and they're ready to go, plus what they get in the draft and the free agency, I think they can really make a pop this year, and I would love to see two teams without rings make this, bro. Can you imagine the record breaking views that would generate? Bills and Lions.
Two offensive firepowers.
Ooh, we're cooking, bro. We're cooking. And I would take.
What would the ratings be if we just see the Chiefs for the rest of this decade? Like what
They would shoot so down. Oh my god, people would stop watching, bro. People would legit
There
stop
was
watching.
actually a prop on a sports book. It wasn't Hard Rock. Then it was FanDuel. It was will Travis Kelsey propose to
I
Taylor
saw
Swift
that. I
after
saw
the
that.
game? I'm like, for all of you ladies and gentlemen that are out there in this beautiful world, if you're betting on a man to propose to his girlfriend, please call me because you have some serious issues. I just thought that I just had him say that because it was so funny when I saw that prop. I was like, are we really betting on a professional athlete to propose to his
Yeah, bro.
star girl?
How far have we fallen that this is what we have to settle with a proposal on the sideline, depending if he wins or loses? Oh my.
Oh man.
Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Make sure to follow us on all our socials. I'm obviously Canes Don't Stop. I give out all Canes news, Miami Hurricanes, whatever you need. You let me know. Brandon, you tell them what you do.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on X. I don't call it Twitter because people shame me for it. I don't know why, it's weird. But at Brandon R Ligori, you can see it right there. And I actually have a new. I don't have a. It's not a new. Which you got to follow me too, Jonka. It's not a new Instagram. It's like a separate one from my main. It's at Brandon Lig Sports. That's BrandonLigSports. All one word. My first video I posted yesterday was a preview of Super Bowl 59. Thought the Chiefs were going to win. I looked like a total moron, but hey, it's worth that I can hopefully get my name out there. So please follow, like, subscribe, comment, attack me, whatever you want to do. I'm always up to it. I'm always down to meet people and connect. So yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next week with another episode of Plug Talk Sports. Thank you. Have a nice day, and don't forget, support the troops.
I knew you were going to say that.